It definitely is a watershed moment. Legal assistance services across Australia have been lobbying to raise the age of criminal responsibility for many years. And the commitment of the Northern Territory Government to raise the age of criminal responsibility to 12 is a positive first step and a watershed moment which establishes an important precedent for the rest of Australia.
Can you give us an idea of how many kids in the NT under the age of 12 come into contact with the criminal justice system and its impact on them?
So currently there are 45 children in detention in the Northern Territory, and there's only one child under the age of 14 in detention at the moment, and that's an 11-year-old child. Over the past few years, the average number of children in detention who have been 10 and 11 has been about 1% of the total population.
What does the evidence say about kids that young being in detention and whether being so will deter them from reoffending?
So I'll start by saying that a number of international legal instruments enshrine the right of a child to be detained only as a measure of last resort. And the reason for that is that both national and international research provides evidence of the immediate and lasting impact of detention upon young children for any period of time on that child's wellbeing or rehabilitative prospects. So in the evidence and the experience of legal service providers is that detention is extremely harmful for children. It also indicates that the older you are when you come into contact with the criminal justice system, the less likely you are to reoffend. The younger you are when you come into contact with the criminal justice system, the more likely you are to reoffend.
And so if and when the legislation passes, what will then happen to kids under the age of 12 who do offend?
Well, hopefully the money saved by not incarcerating children under the age of 12 will be used to develop better therapeutic models to actually provide the supports and training and education that children need to ensure that they don't come into contact with the criminal justice system.
Do you believe the Territory has got the age and date of implementation right?
Well, I think it's an important first step, as I have said. Ideally, you would want the age of criminal responsibility raised to 14. That's the minimum age of criminal responsibilities in most countries around the world. It's the minimum age of criminal responsibility prescribed by international instruments. It's the age supported by experts in developmental neuropsychology and allied disciplines. And it's the age supported by a broad range of Australian service providers and experts in the area of juvenile justice. So, I mean, ideally you would raise the age to 14, but this is a momentous first step. And I'm very pleased that it's being done in the Northern Territory where often 100% of children in detention are Aboriginal children.
And just finally, the Northern Territory Government has indicated that mandatory sentencing will be pared back. That's going to go before the Parliament in a separate bill. How important is that, and will it also have a similar impact for the Indigenous community?
It's extremely important, and we're very hopeful that it will have a big impact upon the Indigenous community. I mean, mandatory sentencing is unfair and leads to unjust outcomes. Judicial officers should have the discretion to impose a sentence which fits the crime and the circumstances of the offending. And it's only sentences like that which can work to keeping the community safer. Community-based sentences that actually are designed to treat the root causes of offending behaviour.